Peace. What's going on, YouTube? It's Red Reams. I'm back with another video. And so today we're going to talk about purpose. You know, your soul's purpose, your life purpose, whatever way you might define it. You know, how to properly get in tune with your purpose. Because for a lot of us, we have a lot of goals, we have a lot of ambitions, and we have a lot of desires. And those three things are sometimes only just dreams and fantasies for us, but they don't have to be. And I'm going to tell you why they don't have to be. And the reason why I say that they don't have to be is because your dreams, they tell you exactly who and what you are capable of becoming, and they show you the ways in the form of symbols how to do this. And a lot of it has to do with clearing out what's blocking you, what's stopping you, which is yourself and your thought process. And it took me a while to realize this when I first came to the conclusion that I'm supposed to guide people. And I started to realize that all those excuses that we make, every time we want to get something started, every time we want to continue something, or we want to build upon something and we want to enhance something, it disappears because we're scared of it. We're scared to transform. We're scared to leave our comfort zone. We're scared to abandon what our ego has become attached to. So for a lot of people who might be struggling, starting a business, the reason why they might struggle is, because a lot of the things that kept them comfortable before they had that business, they just want to continue doing those things. Because when you step into the realm of the unknown, your ego, it can't function properly. And it's up to your subconscious mind, it's up to your higher self to really take the wheel. And the first step to really doing this, to finding your purpose, is you must first think greater than your environment. There's so many different examples of people throughout history that exemplify this example perfectly. They lived during times where what they dreamt about wasn't a reality. The only way they could bring it to reality is to take it from inside their mind, see it, and then live that every day. Be that every day. Walk and talk that every day. That is the way that they brought that reality forward into influencing an entire world. But first they had to influence their inner world. Malcolm X was an example of that. Martin Luther King Jr. was an example of that. A lot of people in history are examples of that. And this is something that they all have in common. Buddha was an example of that. If you believe in Jesus Christ was an example of that. The Prophet Muhammad was an example of that. Any person who's in any position of trying to shape and change the world to their liking, which is a lot of people who we consider at the top, a lot of people who we consider successful, they had to first go within, whether they did it consciously or whether they did it unconsciously, because it's within us all to do this. And so these people, say they weren't conscious, they came with enough light, they came with enough energy to do that without having to consciously pursue it, because it was in them. And it's also in you right now, because energy can't be created and energy can't be destroyed. So all the energy that you need to do and find your purpose is already there. You just have to tap into it. And that's another thing when it comes to discovering purpose. We like to tell ourselves that we're confused, that we don't know, and that we're lost. But that's not exactly the case. Your purpose is usually the thing that you know that you enjoy doing, or you have a knack for, or something that other people notice about you, that they comment on, that you may not pay as much attention to, something that just flows for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a talent. It just has to be something that comes to you. A certain energy that is more readily available to you. That is essentially what your purpose is. And no one can truly tell you that but yourself. All people can do is see the light that your purpose emanates. And the way that they can really see your purpose is if you open up to them. That's where a lot of people will be able to get intuitively the answer. And that's why if you do go and you get a reading, that those people reading you will be able to see that because you're already open to them. So how do we find it? Again, and really, you find it by you have to stop making it so hard for yourself to find it. See, your purpose isn't something necessarily that you have to go on a long journey to discover. That's something that movies, TV shows, and a lot of fantasy and science fiction have made it out to be. But that does not have to be the case. Especially for people who already come into this world possessing more light. It does not have to be the case. Your purpose is already there. And there's a lot of things that could be in the way of actually connecting with that. And that is why we deal with the chakra system. We deal with the chakra system so we can iron out parts of ourself, so that we can take the chakra ladder and raise the energy up, take it into ourselves, and transform it into something beneficial for us. That is essentially what working with the chakras does. And that's why I'm going to say again and again to study your chakras, get any books on chakras. I'll even recommend books on chakras in the future when I actually make a video dedicating to dealing with them. You want to get books dealing with controlling the subconscious mind. There's plenty of books for that. And when we get into talking about the subconscious mind later on, I'll actually give those out. And the reason why I say the subconscious mind is because the subconscious mind is what creates your reality. So you are where you are right now because your subconscious mind has been programmed to put you where you are right now. And it does this all the time. So it doesn't matter how much you consciously tell yourself, I want to find my purpose. I want to be rich. I want to do this. I want to do that. Your ego is the only way your ego can survive is by keeping things away from you to keep itself alive. So essentially what you want to do is you want to bypass the ego altogether, because your ego is nothing more than a mechanism for interacting with the human world. You want to go to the subconscious mind and actually start to change programs within there. The ego is more so the input that you give to a computer, but the subconscious mind are the programs on that computer, the inner workings of that computer and how the computer functions, and what it allows to be put into it. That is essentially what the subconscious mind is. And that takes a little bit more effort, not a lot of effort, but a little bit more effort to actually tap into and transform. And that's the way that you really want to do these things. It's all about the subconscious mind. You don't want to underestimate your mind. It doesn't matter how many times you sit there with wishful thinking, unless you think greater than your environment and you begin to live that every day. Thereby changing the subconscious mind because of your repetitious actions. Unless you do that, you're not going to change anything. You're going to be living in a fantasy. So to think greater than your environment means that you might be working a career, you might be doing day-to-day shit that maybe you don't necessarily want to do. You have to think greater than that. Be greater than that. Be and act in the position that you want to be in. So let's say you want to be a speaker, right? And you can be a speaker for any plethora of things. Let's say you wanna do activism for a certain group of people. You have to start off by talking and speaking your mind about that group of people. You have to put yourself in that position every day. You have to do one or two things or even more to put yourself in that frequency. This is the law of vibration at its finest. Because the minute you start to act and do those things, that's when you start to become those things. The same way that, let's say you're a depressed person, you began to get depressed because of your environment, and you began to act more depressed. And as you began to act more depressed, and you began to give into that attitude, your subconscious mind became programmed and made you depressed. Now, that is a program existing within you. And that's how you carry yourself every day. So the very way that you can make yourself all those negative things is the same way that you can make yourself all those positive things. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say right now, because this is essentially how simple that this gets, right? This is the way to do it. So act. That's the best thing I can say. Act, just do it. Start doing these things every day. Start being who you envision yourself to be. If you want to be rich, start doing things that you love. It doesn't necessarily mean start acting like a rich person by spending too much of your money or spending more than you can afford. No. You can start off by being smart with your money first, because rich people, the way that they operate is that they are smarter with their money. They work smarter and they don't work hard. That's essentially how the rich and the wealthy operate. People below them they work harder than they work smarter. So when you begin to act and you begin to get into the vibration of being those things, you start off by being smarter about them, being smarter about the way that you approach them. When it comes to your purpose is usually something that it's not necessarily focused on money, because money is a low human form of thinking. Money is tied to prosperity in the human realm only. There is no money in the spiritual realms. The only currency up there is light, and light is what matters. So when you're in tune with your purpose, you are doing what you're supposed to do. You want to do what you're supposed to do without being worried and without having an agenda. And when you do those things pure of heart, when you are pure of heart and you are doing those things pure of heart, prosperity will follow you. You have to put yourself there first without any agenda. And the only way that you can do that is by first overcoming your humanity and your chakra system, your thoughts. And just like I said in another video, you have to let go and surrender to a lot of the issues in the chakra system. You have to move past them and then use them to enhance yourself. When you deal with the chakra system, you begin to leave all of what's in humanity behind. When you leave your humanity behind, you make room for your spiritual growth. Because spiritual growth and humanity, they don't go hand in hand. They're like oil and water. Because your spirit wants to be about higher things. Humanity wants to be about lower things. It wants to be about, being this great person on earth. The glamour, the fame, the rich, having people admire you. All these things outside of you. That's essentially what humanity wants to be. Your soul doesn't need any of that. You have to think from a point of view that's greater than your humanity. And that's essentially when you'll actually tap into your real purpose. You can go and you can tell yourself anything is your purpose, because your ego will let you know, or it'll tell you anything to survive, including thinking that you are on the right track. But to really get a message, to really get a channel from your higher self showing you, you essentially have to move the ego out of the way, which is why a lot of people have dreams of their purpose, but they won't necessarily understand that. So start to look into dreams. Get any books you can on dreams. Get any books that you can on chakras. Anything that I really feel might help, I'm going to leave in the description of this video. So make sure you check that out, because there's a lot of books that I've read that have definitely dealt with this. I just didn't bring them on hand today. But when I go deeper into the videos and the topics that we talked about, that I said I would do in the future, best believe I'll have them right on hand. Alright, so if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and share this video so that, whoever is ready to receive the message, whoever is ready to grow, they'll be able to find it. I wish you all luck in your journey, and peace.